Okay. We have discussed yesterday's class regarding user plane protocol stack. So till this class, it will be a kind of theory. But from next class, when we start attach procedure or channels in LT, you will feel very interesting. So you have noted down this user plane protocol stack, right? UE to eNode B,
Yes.
eNode B to S gateway to P gateway, and P gateway to PDN. So these S gateway to P gateway and PDN are not required. You must by heart these things: UE to eNode B and eNode B to S gateway protocol.
Okay.
So it will be clear. You can imagine while saying your answers, the this kind of data will flow from this to this point to this point. And coming to control plane. Control plane also similar, but it has two more extra layers like RRC and NAS layer. So we will be going in deep depth of this RRC and NAS, what are their functionalities. So I request you to note it down again. Control plane stack, control plane protocol stack. So make a note of UE to eNode B first, and below down the page, eNode B to MME protocol stack. There S gateway came after eNode B, you see, because data after connecting to the network, data flow will happen from UE to eNode B, eNode B to S gateway. But in order in case of control plane, MME is the control manager in the LT network. So it controls or it sends signaling messages or anything attached procedure will be controlled by MME, or detach procedure or handover or reselection, everything will be controlled by MME. So it controls every node. So it comes in this control plane, UE to eNode B, eNode B then forwards message to MME. So make a note of this: UE to eNode B, eNode B to MME, MME to S gateway, S gateway to P gateway.
LD to D, that is what interface that is. The UE is joining to E node B.
This is LTE-UU interface. In 3G we call it as air interface, right?
Yeah.
In control plane, you can see that NAS layer is directly interacting with MME's NAS layer. So file layer, MAC layer, RLC, PDCP, these are till RRC. It is access stratum.
Okay.
And phi is a L1, MAC, RLC, PDCP is L2, RRC and NAS is L3.
Okay.
So you might be seeing logs in terms like L2, L3 messages. So these are the stack level messages. Maybe I don't remember exactly, it will show you detailed messages of L2, L3 or not. But in QXDM, we can see detail each and everything, what is coming in NAS layer, what is coming in RRC layer. And this one down is the eNode B to eNode B, which is connected by X2 interface. X2 interface, it is nothing but an IP address. We have given some name for interface. So it is having L1, L2, IP, SCTP. It uses SCTP protocol, and above that X2 AP protocol. What are these SCTP, X2 AP? I will explain you.
Sir, X2 is interface, na?
Yeah, X2 interface.
Interface means a media by which
Yeah.
we can connect
Yes.
one device to another
Yes. Yes.
another device.
Yeah. It's a
Okay.
path.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Like from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, some NH highway is there, right? Like that, from Sikandrabad to some directly Havda, Kolkata, there is a NH highway, NH something 7 or something name. So like that, for every interface, every path, they have defined in LTE network some name. Please let me know if you have noted this, if you have drawn this diagram. UE to E node B, E node B to MME, which is connected via S1 MME interface, MME to S gateway connected via S1 S11 interface, and S gateway to P gateway. This is connected via S5 interface. This is in case of home network. If it is a roaming network, it will come as S8 interface.
Hello, Javed bhai.
Yes.
I have one question.
Yes.
Actually, when we connected mobile from the RRC connected mode,
Okay.
so this comes in control plane or in user plane. Because after connecting, our traffic will share to UE and you node B.
Yes, that
So
comes into the user plane. That uses
okay,
once UE connects to the network, if default bearer is established, one bearer will be allocated to UE. So from that, data flow will happen. Data flow happens with this protocol level: application IP, PDCP, RLC,
okay,
MAC 5. Downlink data will flow like this.
okay.
But if U is not connected mode, means RRC ideal, it exchanges message between UE to E node B or UE to this MME via NAS messages.
Okay.
Like whenever UE needs RRC connection, so UE sends a RRC connection request to E node B's RRC layer in case of control. So these are the MME to HSS interaction. It happens via S6A interface. So above one you have noted this one. The first
Oh, above one we are noted.
first diagram you have noted. Second diagram,
Yes.
X2 interface, E node B to E node B in control plane. Then third diagram, MME how MME interacts with HSS. It is via S6A interface. It uses SCTP and diameter protocol. The people who are into core network testing, they will log in into these protocol layers, and they will check the messages. What is the messages? What are the messages flowing? Like in LT protocol testing at UE side or node B side, we check into RRC messages, MAC, PDCP messages. Like that, they will go into SCTP and diameter messages. So MME, one MME is connected to other MME via S10 interface. So suppose one MME is in Karnataka and other MME is in Telangana. So it will be interacting with some interface, which is as called as S10 interface. It is nothing but an IP. We configure at source MME and target MME. Control plane has a lot of things involved. User plane is nothing but very simple. Data flows from UE to eNode B, eNode B to S gateway to P gateway. But control signaling has a lot of things. It has to interact with MME, it has to interact with HSS, other MME in case of roaming network. It has to check for charging policy also, like what is the pack this user has purchased. It has to negotiate with PCRF here. And when you do browsing or downloading, uploading, or when you make a call, it will continuously monitor how much data you are using, how much duration you are making a call. So it will interact with OCS, online charging system. P gateway will interact with online charging system. So they cannot give you the more than purchased data or more than purchased minutes for calling. Nobody is offering you for free. So they will keep on monitoring via this OCS. And in case of idle mode also, offline charging systems. They will check nowadays operators has implemented this limited pack. Suppose 49 rupees if you are recharging, it will give you 28 days. After that, they will stop your outgoing or incoming. So even though you are not connected, you are in idle mode, you cannot make a call. How this is monitored? This is by OFCS, offline charging system. They will not allow you.
What is this OCS?
Online charging
Offline
system.
Online. Okay.
Sir, what is the difference between OCS and OFCS?
It's a OCS means online charging system. Whenever you make a call and whenever you do downloading or uploading, so you have some specified data per day or specified minutes for a pack. Suppose you have a 1 GB data, and if you are playing game or real-time game, you will end up within 2 hours. You will consume all the data, but after 2 hours it has to monitor, because your U is in connected mode, and network is all continuously monitoring via online charging system how much data you have consumed. So after that limit, they will stop your data flow. Data comes from
And in
data comes from P gateway.
OFCS?
OFCS, it's a offline charging system. When you are not in connected mode, suppose you have purchased a pack of 49 rupees, whatever nowadays they are giving, and after 28 days, your pack has expired. Even though you have some balance, 20 rupees or 30 rupees, you cannot make outgoing call. So how that limiting is happened by OFCS.
End of the subscription pack.
It may be end of the subscription pack, or sometime you have a balance but you cannot make a call. It will ask you to contact your operator, or some restriction they will keep in your MC.
That time OCS is not working.
OCS will work in case of connected mode only. It's an online charging system. OFCS in case of offline charging system. You are not connected to network. You are just camped or in idle mode.
Okay. Got it, sir. Got it.
So have you noted down this?
Yes.
All the things?
Yes.
Okay. I will move to we have just a second.
Sir, but in Geo, after end of subscription pack, they provide a 64-bit kilobyte per second data.
Yeah, that's a different scenario. That is also a online charging system.
Okay.
Geo has some special especially services given by Geo to their customer. Other operators will not give. If you go to
Yeah.
Middle East, they will not give.
Okay.
So yesterday we have. Are you able to see this document? What document?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is our control plane. UE and E node B, S1 MME, MME. Okay. And this is our user plane. UE, E node B, S gateway, P gateway. So we have written some of the functionalities of physical layer, right? So there are many functionalities more. I will share your documents as well, like ARQ soft combining, FE forward error correction, encoding, decoding, mapping of this modulation and demodulation of physical channel, frequency and time synchronization. It does the MIMO operation, multiple input, multiple output, antenna processing. If you want, you can note it down some more functionality.
Yeah.
You have already noted down this modulation and demodulation. If you tell 3-4 functionalities in the interview, that's enough. Okay. And we have noted down the MAC layer functionalities. It is responsible for scheduling of uplink and downlink data. It is responsible for mapping between logical channels and transport channels. We will come to know what are the logical channels and transport channels when we discuss those channels in next class. It is responsible for multiplexing, demultiplexing. It is responsible for HARC mechanism, error correction through HARC. It is responsible for priority handling between logical channels of one UE. So there are many channels in LTE. How the priority will be given to one channel to other channel, it decided by MAC layer. Every channel is having data to transfer, certain types of data. So MAC layer will decide which channel has to come first or which channel has to come later. It depends upon the priority. That priority will be given by MAC layer. It is responsible for padding. Padding means whenever there is a downlink data flow or uplink data flow, at the end of the transmission, if the TB size, like we follow some mechanism in order to transmit data in uplink or whether in downlink through eNode B. If the data size is less, it will add some padding at the end of the subframe. How the subframes are, I will show you. So you have noted down this. So
Yes. No. Non-access is there not noted down.
not no, only about this NAS. So PDCP, I'm discussing yesterday's class only. This L2
Okay.
layer, L1 and L2. PDCP also comes into L2. So PDCP
Okay.
has
Okay.
a header compression and decompression, responsible for header compression and decompression, and it is responsible for transfer of data in sequence delivery of upper layers, PDU at PDCP, reestablishment procedure for RLC AM. So in sequence delivery, we have, whenever data flow happens, suppose you is sending some data, it will go to 5 MAC RLC, then PDCP. PDCP, it will see the sequence number of each and every byte. So it will arrange. If some sequence number is missed at RLC or MAC layer, so it will ask to retransmit again. So it is a sequence delivery. It will deliver sequentially to the upper layers. Upper layer is what? In user plane, it is IP layer. It is responsible for ciphering and deciphering. It is responsible for ciphering and integrity protection, transfer of control plane data. Transfer of control plane data means it interacts with RRC layer. When you see the stack above PDCP, there is RRC layer. RRC is responsible for control plane data. It will forward some control information to RRC. Or whenever eNode B sends some control information to RRC, it will forward to PDCP. So this is the RLC layer. RLC not required much thing. Whatever I told you yesterday, it is responsible for AM, UM mode, TM mode, and in sequence delivery, concatenation, segmentation, those things RLC will do. RLC. So please make a note of this. RRC, it comes into the control plane. It acts like manager since all the lower layers are controlled by RRC.
Radio resource control.
So these are the functionalities of RRC. It broadcasts system information related to non-access stratum. It broadcasts system information. System information like whenever you make a UE power on or attached to the network, it will receive SIB, right? SIB1, SIB2, system information block 1, system information block 2. You might have seen in the RRC logs. So those are received by RRC. It broadcast. eNode B RRC will broadcast system information. And it sends paging. Whenever UE is in idle mode, eNode B sends paging through RRC. Establishment, it is responsible for connection establishment, maintenance, and release of an RRC connection between UE and eUtron. It is responsible for mobility functions like X2 handover. When handover happens, one eNode B to another eNode B, so RRC sends handover request.
So UE is not the part of eUtron.
No.
Only eNode B is the part of eUtron.
Yeah, one eNode B or multiple eNode Bs are the part of eUtron.
Oh, okay.
So RRC also manages QoS, quality of service management function. It has internal, some functions are there. This QoS I will discuss in next class. There is a separate class needed 1 hour for to explain this QoS. There are many things in QoS. RRC sends measurements, UE measurement reporting and control of reporting. Whenever UE sends measurement report, RRC will collect and it will forward to eNode B's RRC. So and RRC is also responsible for NAS direct messages because if you see a stack of control plane, MME's NAS layer will directly send UE's NAS layer some messages, paging message or something whenever it comes. So that UE's NAS layer will receive directly from MME, and UE's NAS layer then again forward to RRC layer, UE's RRC layer. So it is responsible for NAS direct message transfer from R2, NAS from R2 UE.
Sir, can you repeat what is NAS layer?
NAS layer, it's a non-access stratum. We will discuss next what is that. Have you noted down these functionalities of RRC?
Yes.
Okay, so let's discuss NAS layer. So non-access stratum. This layer actually is responsible for direct communication between UE and MME. It's a see, the non-access stratum is the highest stratum of a control plane between UE and MME at the radio interface. Main functions of the protocols are the part of NAS are the support of mobility of the user equipment and the support of session management procedures. I told you in yesterday's class, whenever UE is in connected mode, if it moves to some other location, then data buffering will happen at S gateway. But how that connection management happens in connected mode, it will be handled by NAS layer.
Means that NAS is a core network.
Yeah, core network.
Okay.
Not we can say exactly core network. It has a protocol stack at UE side as well as the NAS MME side. So it interacts with directly with core network instead of EUTRON. UE is NAS layer interact with directly core network, and core network directly interact with UE without EUTRON.
What is ECM ideal mobility handling?
Yeah, EPS connection management. Actually, whenever you attach a UE, then after some time, if you don't transfer data, or if you don't receive data, or if you don't make a VoLTE call, it will go into idle mode. It has some timer after some duration. So that is nothing but ECM ideal. Like we have two things, RRC ideal as well as the I will explain you ECM ideal. Just a second. Suppose this is our UE and this is our E node B. This is our MME. Okay. And whenever UE comes into connected mode, it will be RRC connected, right? And whenever it has a connection with MME also in RRC connected. So it is RRC connected and it is connected to MME whenever UE comes into connected mode. After some time, when you don't send or don't receive any traffic data, it will go into idle mode. This UE will go into idle mode and there will be no RRC connection. It will you will get a message RRC connection release. So after some time, this connection, whatever S1C connection is there, this will also go when you don't use your UE. In order to save the battery, UE implementation chipset, those companies will design some algorithm. So when you don't when you are not using your UE, there is no need to connect to be connected with eNodeB or MME, right? So this is nothing but when this connection goes, S1C connection goes, it is called as ECM ideal. So
Okay.
so when there is no S1C connection, this is ECM ideal. Okay, where we were? Yeah, this one. So, and paging origination in ECM ideal. Whenever your UE goes into ECM ideal, means there is no connection between UE NAS layer and MME NAS layer, and somebody is calling you or somebody is sending you some video on WhatsApp. So how UE will receive? It will send, MME NAS layer will send paging message to UE NAS layer directly. So it works in case of ECM ideal. Paging origination. Paging will be originated from MME to UE NAS layer. This NAS layer is also responsible for security control. Whenever UE makes attach request, it will ask you authentication request. So that NAS authentication will happen during attach procedure. We will see in detail.
Sir, sir, what is EPS bearer management?
EPS bearer management, whenever attach is happened, actually a bearer will be established, a tunnel, a path will be established. Those path data flow will be controlled by NAS layer. During handover procedure, mainly it comes. I will explain you this EPS bearer management, how NAS layer handles the data flow. No need to worry about this EPS bearer management. We will come to know in detail in handover. Okay, noted down.
Yes.
Oh, we have noted down. We have so many things. Just give me 1 minute. I think we are running out of time. Need to log in again. Okay. I will end this. Please log in again after one minute.